it's Elise here at Bowman Library with a whole new teen book spotlight. So for this week, we are taking some inspiration from the month of October, which, in case if you didn't know, is Star Wars Reads Month. It's a whole month celebrating anything having to do with Star Wars in book form, reading form, anything like that, okay? So, we're not going to be quite so literal as everything's about Star Wars, but we are taking a look at some amazing science fiction. Now, science fiction is, the definition of it are things that, books that could possibly come true. They may seem far-fetched, but they could come true. Now, for our science fiction today, we do have some that takes place in outer space, but not all of it does. So there's a little something for everyone here. So let's take a look. Our first one is Once and Future. Now, this retelling of the King Arthur tale is unique in that it takes place in outer space. Now, Arya is a refugee who is on the run and is considered to be a fugitive and finds herself crashing in a spaceship with her brother on what is called Old Earth. It is there that she comes across this ancient sword, which she pulls out of a tree, and she becomes the 42nd reincarnation of Arthur, while also awakening Merlin, as well as the enchantress Morgana, who have been doomed to reliving the story of Arthur for eternity. Arya at first rejects her new role, but when she finds out that she has the opportunity to free her people and the galaxy from the rule of the iron-fisted Mercer Corporation, she decides it's worth the risk. Filled with science fiction, there's fantasy, friendship, action, there is a little bit of romance, and this a fresh look at the Arthurian legend. You will not want to miss this one. It's the first in a completed duology. We do have book 2 here if you want to check it out at the same time as Once and Future. The Electric Kingdom. Okay, so I will start by saying this. You gotta stick with this one and just read this one with an open mind, okay? It's the year 2043 in New Hampshire, and the world has been ravaged by these creatures that are called flu flies, which spread this horrific and deadly flu. Now, 18-year-old Nico, she's been sent by her father to leave their small remote farm and to travel to find this anomaly of a city, okay? And it's at this city that all of this could end. But Nico doesn't really believe that this is a real thing, but she decides to go to humor her dad. As she sets out in the woods with her dog, she meets a few others on the road with their own stories, and they soon find themselves going on a journey together through an apocalyptic countryside in which they will be tested in every way they can imagine, and then some. Now, the science fiction dystopian survival novel is one that can be an intricate read at times, okay, so just have an open mind, stick with it, and it will take some understanding and some patience to fully comprehend the ending, but you may find it's worth the time. Others of you will just be like, I don't really understand what happens here. I will promise you, the dog does survive, okay, so don't let that be a hang up on reading this one. The dog does survive, okay? This is the Electric Kingdom. Bloom, okay. Now, this one is the book 1 in a series, okay? It's the first in a trilogy. On Salt Spring Island off the coast of Vancouver in Canada, something weird starts to happen. After days of torrential rain, these strange black pointy plants start to appear all over the island, and no one knows what they are. And they soon realize that these plants aren't just growing on Salt Spring Island, they are growing everywhere all over the world. These plants grow super fast, and it's quickly discovered that they have the ability to do some things that normal plants can't do, such as they can choke things, including humans, and they can spit acid, not very good there, and they can emit this sweet-smelling gas that make people fall asleep. Not a good combination of 3 things there, right there. Now, as scientists, militaries, and leaders from all over the world, they're running against the clock to figure these plants out. I mean, like, this is going to end the human race type deal. 3 teens from the island, Anya, Petra, and Seth, realize that the plants have 0 effect on them, and that they are somehow immune or could possibly be inhuman. Again, the first in a trilogy. This is science fiction meets some horror, meets, again, one of those things where you're like, oh, this could never happen. We may not have these crazy plants, but something else may happen in the future, kind of like this. This is Bloom. Okay, the ones we're meant to find. Okay, so in this dystopian thriller, Earth as we know it has changed due to climate change and weather disasters. We meet C. C has been stranded on an island for the past 3 years without any memory, and now she is colorblind and alone. She knows that she has a sister out there somewhere, and C knows that she needs to find her, but doesn't even know when or how, what to start. It is then that as the reader we meet Kay. And Kay is living in an eco-friendly city, and her life is completely different, especially now that her older sister has been missing for the past 3 months after taking the boat out to sea not to return. Now, while C figures out how she's going to get back to Kay, Kay decides that she needs to figure out what really happened to her sister, all while uncovering secrets that now, once they're in the open, they cannot be put back in. They cannot, be tampered down. Now, this one does have an intricate plot as well, maybe a little complicated at times to follow, but it's one that the more you read, it will keep you guessing further, especially if you like multiple points of view, as you'll get C and K's points of view through their journeys. This is the ones we're meant to find. Aurora Rising. So it's the year 2380, and when you graduate from the Aurora Academy, you are then sent as part of a squad on various missions. Now, Tyler Jones, he's at the top of his class, meaning that he's going to be able to pick his squad first. So he is going to have the best of the best for his squad. The evening of this draft, though, he finds and rescues this girl who has been in a cryosleep for the past 220 years. Missing this draft due to this unplanned event and rescue, he is then stuck with everyone who was not chosen. Basically, everyone they refer to as the Misfits. Now, when their squad heads out on their first mission, the girl that he has rescued, whose name is Aurora, she hides on their ship as a stowaway, and there are people who are hunting her, they want to capture her. Tyler doesn't realize this is happening, and when Tyler does, he soon realizes that both he and his squad members, they are all in danger. Now, it's going to be up to these 7 people on board to save Aurora while trying to complete their mission. It's the first in a completed series. It is a trilogy. I will tell you, this one will end on a cliffhanger, so you might want to check out the second one, because you're not going to want to stop as soon as you get to this one. You'll be on the edge of your seat, wondering what what Tyler's going to do, what Aurora's going to do, all of that type of deal. This is Aurora Rising. And our last one is one of my new favorites of the year. Okay, we might be talking about this at the end of the year. My favorite one, we'll see. This is Snow Globe. Okay, so in the future, the world has become super cold. 50 degrees below zero or worse type deal, okay? Now, if you are what is called a have-not, okay, which is pretty much almost everyone in society, it's your job to work in the various power plants, creating the energy needed to help everyone survive, and this is done through movement and kinetic energy. Now, the only bright spot for a lot of people in their daily life is this reality show called Go Harry, which everyone watches. And this reality show with these really super famous people, it takes place in this geothermal snow globe, in which everyone is warm. It's the only place in the world that actually has heat, okay? Now, 16-year-old Jian, she watches this show with her mother every day when they're at the power plant, and she has dreams of making it onto the show, even though she knows that's never going to happen. But fast forward, she's almost 17, she's getting ready for her birthday, and she's approached by the producers of this reality show. And they want her on this show. But here's the reason why. One of the main stars of this show, okay, is now dead. It's rumored that they have committed suicide. But they don't want anyone to know. And Jian looks exactly like this star. So they asked Gian to come onto the show, but not as herself, but to be a stand-in, a fill-in for this star, because they don't want anyone to know what really happened to them. Now, taking on someone else's life, Gian finds herself living in this dream world. She totally agrees to do it. But there's more going on behind the scenes, and she doesn't know what is real, who she can trust, and if she's going to make it out alive. Like, there's a reason why things are happening, and they don't want anyone to know. This is the first in a duology. Book 2 is not out yet, so if you do read this, it does end on a cliffhanger. You're going to have to be patient. I know that can be extremely frustrating, but this one is so worth it. This is Snow Globe. So, these are just a few of the science fiction books that we have here at the library. I encourage you to come on out, check these out, or we have other science fiction books, because one thing I love about science fiction is there's so many different sub-genres of it that there is something for everyone. I promise you that. You may not believe me, but I do promise you. So come on out to the library and we can help you find that perfect science fiction read. I hope you have an incredible week, and I hope you tune back next time when we have a whole new teen book spotlight.